In the cozy home of Brightburn, Kansas, Kyle and Tori Breyer prepare for an intimate moment, hoping to finally conceive a child. However, Tori, tired of the endless hope, just wants to enjoy the moment. Suddenly, a tremor interrupts their plans, prompting Tori to investigate. The disturbance subsides until a crash shakes their home, and they notice a bright red light in the distance. After this mysterious incident, Kyle and Tori are blessed with a baby boy named Brandon. Fast forward 10 years, Tori checks Brandon's room to get him ready for school, only to find it empty. Assuming it's a game of hide and seek, she whistles, and Brandon playfully responds from a hidden spot. Following his whistles, Tori discovers him in the barn, where he startles her with a prank. Despite the scare, Tori embraces Brandon, declaring him her eternal baby boy. Kyle, concerned for Brandon's safety, warns him about the barn rules. At school, Brandon impresses his classmates with his knowledge about bees and wasps. When teased by a classmate, Caitlin stands up for him, fostering a connection between them. That night, Tori, absorbed in her painting, notices a red light pulsing from the barn as Brandon experiences seizures. Concerned, she pauses but resumes when the commotion stops. Later, Brandon wakes up, walks out of his window, and causes a loud thud. Tori, now worried, checks outside but finds nothing amiss. Sensing a presence, she turns around, spotting Brandon running past her. She chases through the drying laundry and glimpses his back before he vanishes. Tori, drawn to the barn, discovers Brandon muttering strange words and attempting to open chain trapdoors. Concerned, she calls out to him, but he remains unresponsive. When she touches him, he looks at her with confusion, as if awakening from a trance. Tori attempts to comfort Brandon when he admits to hearing voices during a sleepwalking episode. Wishing to avoid causing him unnecessary worry, she dismisses the voices and guides him back to bed. When Kyle checks on them, Tori fabricates a story about Brandon sleepwalking downstairs, concealing the unsettling barn incident. The following day, Kyle opens up to Brandon about their initial struggles when they adopted him. Left alone with Brandon, Kyle uses candy to connect with him, establishing a paternal bond. The two share a sweet moment until Kyle leaves Brandon to mow the lawn. Frustrated when the mower struggles to start, Brandon unexpectedly hurls it across the yard. Shocked by his strength, Brandon raises his hands to the dangerously spinning blades, hypnotized by mysterious voices. Although the machine breaks, his hand emerges unscathed. On Brandon's 12th birthday, the family celebrates at a diner with Tori's sister, Marilee, and her husband, Noah. Marilee, Brandon's school counselor, praises his genius, and Noah gives him a hunting rifle as a birthday gift. Kyle intervenes, confiscating the gun due to Brandon's age. Brandon protests, demanding the gun forcefully. The arcade screens flicker, drawing attention, and Kyle ends the celebration prematurely. Back home, Kyle and Tori discuss the changes in Brandon's behavior. Tori reflects on their tumultuous teenage years and vows to do better with Brandon. Kyle suggests they go camping in Drivewood the next day to relax. As they prepare, Tori reminds Brandon about his jacket, but he disregards her, eating breakfast with an unusual intensity. Kyle checks on him and discovers Brandon inexplicably eating his fork. When Kyle pulls it away, Brandon gasps awake, confused by the bent fork in his hand, signaling a growing mystery surrounding his newfound abilities. While retrieving Brandon's jacket from his room, Tori stumbles upon pictures hidden under his bed. She shows Kyle the images, initially amused by Brandon's seemingly innocent choice of entertainment. However, their amusement turns to discomfort as they encounter pictures of undressed women and, disturbingly, images of human organs. Disturbed, they decide to address the issue with Brandon later. During a hunting trip, Kyle attempts to discuss the topic of intercourse with Brandon, emphasizing its emotional aspects. In an attempt to subtly inform him about self-love, Brandon misunderstands the conversation, leading to an awkward ending. Meanwhile, at Caitlin's home, she is jarred awake by music, repeatedly finding her laptop playing even after closing it. Frightened, she calls her mom, Erica, claiming someone is at her window. Erica arrives, but they find no one. Caitlin revealed it was Brandon Breyer, causing concern. In the woods, Tori searches for Brandon, who nonchalantly appears, claiming he went to pee. Concerned about Brandon's attitude, Tori consults Marilee, who reassures her that it's merely puberty. While observing Brandon at home, Tori discovers him drawing symbols, but he quickly covers it up. Late at night, Kyle investigates the disturbed chickens in the barn, suspecting a wolf. Instead, he finds Brandon eerily standing among the panicked chickens. Kyle reprimands him and takes him home. The following morning, Kyle wakes to find the chickens dead, blaming Brandon despite his insistence that a wolf couldn't break a lock. Tori remains unconvinced. At school, Brandon and his classmates participate in a trust circle exercise. In a moment of betrayal, Caitlin lets Brandon fall to the ground, leading to laughter from their classmates. She accuses him of being a pervert, and only the coach's threat to fail her forces Caitlin to begrudgingly help him up, hinting at the growing tension among the students. Fueled by anger, Brandon tightly grips Caitlin's hand during a confrontation, causing her to scream in pain as he crushes it. The aftermath leads to a meeting between Brandon, Caitlin's parents, and the sheriff in the principal's office. Erica, outraged, demands severe consequences for Brandon's actions, but the punishment is limited to suspension and counseling. In response, Erica questions Brandon's true mother, hinting at a possible psychopathic lineage. Tori defends herself, apologizing for Caitlin's ordeal before leaving with Brandon, who glares menacingly at Erica. At home, Tori confesses to Kyle about Brandon's sleepwalking and worries about his fascination with the mysterious trapdoor. Concerned about Brandon's nature, Kyle fears he may cause harm. In bed, Brandon has a revelation about the whispers, prompting him to head to the barn in the rain. Meanwhile, Tori investigates Brandon's origins, noticing a red light through the window. In the barn, she finds Brandon floating over the red light. Panicking, she tries to catch him, but he falls and cuts himself on an alien ship. Comforting him, Tori decides to confess their struggles for a baby, revealing that he came from the alien ship. Upset about the lies, Brandon runs outside and, with laser-red eyes, screams, deciphering the whispers as, "Take the world." Brandon apologizes to Caitlin with flowers, asserting his uniqueness and promising to handle her mother's objections. Despite her fear, he assures her. In a chilling twist, Erica discovers drawn symbols at the diner, leading to a mysterious assailant attacking her, resulting in her demise. The next day, Tori and Kyle anxiously await Brandon at breakfast, relieved to find him calm. The sheriff investigates Erica's disappearance, finding a mysterious symbol on the diner's windows. In counseling, Marilee probes Brandon about his adoption, revealing his evolving sense of superiority due to his extraterrestrial origins. The shadows of Brandon's true nature begin to unfold. Concerned about Brandon's lack of remorse for Caitlin, Marilee urges him to open up, emphasizing the seriousness of her work and her obligation to report to the sheriff. This makes Brandon shake angrily, hinting at an underlying turmoil within him. In a bar, Kyle and his friends discuss Erica's death. EJ implies Brandon's involvement due to the Caitlin incident, but he apologizes when rebuked. Kyle, troubled by the fear that Brandon is transforming into a monster, confides in his friend Noah, who reassures him that all children are monsters before leaving home. Marilee, alone at home, faces a visit from Brandon, who subtly threatens her regarding the sheriff's report. Undeterred, Marilee stands her ground and firmly demands he leave. Although Brandon's smile is menacing, he complies. Unbeknownst to her, Brandon, wearing his red mask, lurks in the darkness behind her. Later, Brandon sneaks into Marilee's room while she sleeps but hears Noah returning home. Noah, oblivious to Brandon's presence, turns on the light and discovers him in the closet. Noah scolds Brandon and drags him outside to his truck, where Brandon warns him not to tell his parents. Unfazed, Noah is shot down by Brandon's laser vision and disappears into the darkness. Noah, terrified and injured, drives away in his truck, but Brandon, displaying newfound powers, lifts and crashes the vehicle. Brandon uses Noah's blood to draw a symbol on the road, marking a disturbing turn of events. Back at home, Tori panics as Brandon hasn't returned. When he finally arrives, hiding his shirt, Tori embraces him, asking what happened. Brandon lies, pretending to be upset about a soccer game that led to bullying, concealing the dark reality of his actions. Distraught by Brandon's lies and troubled behavior, Tori and Kyle struggle to provide the specialist care their alien son needs. Kyle, grappling with guilt, blames themselves for raising Brandon when he wasn't meant to be human. In a nightmarish dream, Kyle envisions a haunting past in the woods where they found Brandon. Tori appears carrying a bleeding baby, and when she offers it to Kyle, he envisions the monstrous entity Brandon has become. Awaking abruptly, Marilee calls them, leading the couple to the hospital to comfort her, distressed about Noah's crash. Shockingly, they discover Brandon visited Marilee before the accident. Disturbed by Brandon's indifference to Noah's death, Tori and Kyle confront him. Tori gently inquires if Brandon knows anything about Noah's demise, but he lies to them. A heated argument ensues between Kyle and Brandon, resulting in a physical confrontation that Tori intervenes to stop. Brandon is ordered to his room, raising suspicion about the reason he's hiding his shirt. While Brandon showers, Kyle investigates his room and finds the shirt stained with blood. Kyle hides the evidence, pretending to apologize for his actions. Frustrated, Kyle shows Tori the evidence of Brandon's crime, but she turns a blind eye and refuses to acknowledge their son's monstrous acts. Amid their argument, Kyle, overwhelmed with frustration, declares that Brandon isn't their son, leading Tori to storm off. The sheriff, investigating No's accident, discovers the same symbol found in Erica's case. Kyle, reflecting on Brandon's baby trinkets and the love he once had for their son, decides to mend their strained relationship by taking Brandon camping. Tori, relieved, allows herself to be embraced by Kyle. As Kyle and Brandon embark on their journey, their relationship remains silent and strained. Meanwhile, the sheriff visits Tori, questioning her about Brandon and presenting a photograph of the symbol at No's crash. Tori feigns innocence, but the sheriff sees through her facade. Despite the warning, Tori rushes to Brandon's room and discovers his notebook filled with symbols and horrifying depictions of Erica and No's deaths, unraveling the darkness within her alien son. As Kyle and Brandon venture through the ominous woods, tension and fear linger in the air. Kyle, overwhelmed by the dread of what he believes must be done, raises his gun, shedding a terror for the unthinkable act he's about to commit. In an anguished moment, he shoots Brandon in the head, only to witness him stand up, completely unaffected. A shocked expression crosses Brandon's face as Kyle reloads his gun, but before he can comprehend the supernatural, Brandon vanishes. Kyle attempts to flee, but Brandon effortlessly catches up, taking him down. In a desperate plea for his life, Kyle is met with hesitation from Brandon before a fatal laser pierces through his head, ending his existence. Tori, unaware of the gruesome events unfolding, desperately calls Kyle, only to hear Brandon's voice on the other end. Despite Brandon's blunt revelation of Kyle's demise, Tori denies the harsh reality. Desperate for answers, she questions Brandon's whereabouts, but he coldly states he's home before crushing Kyle's phone. Panic sets in as Brandon unleashes destruction upon their home. Tori dials 911, hoping for help, but Brandon interrupts the call. The sheriff and his deputy respond to the chaotic scene, only to meet their tragic fates. Brandon kills the sheriff, leaving the deputy to instruct Tori to hide. As she seeks backup, Brandon dispatches the remaining officer. Tori, concealed beneath a bed, witnesses the gruesome aftermath. Guided by instinct and a shard of metal from the alien ship, Tori races to the barn with Brandon in pursuit. As the ship illuminates, revealing Erica's dissected body, Tori confronts the horrifying truth. Armed with a shard hidden in her back pocket, Tori calls out to Brandon, attempting to lure him with familiar whistles. When she approaches, intending to strike, Brandon halts her, feeling the pain of her betrayal. In a fit of rage, he crashes through the barn's roof, holding Tori in his arms. As they soar higher, Tori's fate is sealed, and Brandon lets her fall to her death. With cunning precision, Brandon spots a distant plane and uses it as a cover-up for the tragedy that unfolded at the Breyer home. In a chilling display of innocence, he nonchalantly enjoys a cookie while news crews report on the mysterious plane crash, leaving Brandon as the sole survivor, concealing the abyss within.